Inflation rate for July fell to 21.8% as compared to June. And the last minute, INEC has complied with court order and listing SDP candidates for tomorrow's by-elections. We will also be talking about the CVR exercise that will be taking place across the country. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I am Sean Kimbale here in Abuja. Some good news about the economy as we're seeing headline inflation easing on the fourth consecutive month now, as reported by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, will be making sense. But what is not given some good news is the food inflation, which doesn't look like has grown in the last month compared to June compared to July. We'll be giving you all of the statistics and the details right here on the program. And what happened when SDP had gone to court and the court order asking INEC to enlist the candidates in all the by-elections. We'll be getting details and hearing from INEC tonight on the program. But first, let's serve you with some of the political roundup stories.
President Bola Tinubu today departed Abuja for a two-nation trip to Japan and Brazil. The president was accompanied on the trip by government officials, including ministers and special advisors. The president will stop over in Dubai, United Arab Emirates, before proceeding to Japan. A former Sokoto State Governor, Aminu Waziri Tambuwal, says his recent invitation by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, is an attempt to intimidate him into abandoning his role in a political coalition preparing to challenge the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, in the 2027 general elections. The former governor stated this while addressing a large crowd of supporters who turned out to welcome him back to Sokoto following his release by the anti-graft agency.
I remain that person that believe in democracy, rule of law, and good governance. And no one, no agency can intimidate me to abandon that course.
The Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, has urged local government officials to be the true face of democracy at the grassroots by being transparent, accountable, and responsive to the needs of the people. The governor gave this charge in Owerri, the Imo State capital, at a three-day retreat on public sector governance for local government officials, organized by the Progressive Institutes in collaboration with the Imo State government.
So, leaving this retreat, we must go to the new page and see ourselves as those elected by the people to represent the people, not to punish the people.
The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Nentawe Yilwata, says the party is hopeful of victory in tomorrow's by-election for vacant seats in the Senate and House of Representatives. Mr. Yilwata, who spoke to journalists at the Benin airport this morning shortly before his departure from Edo State, said the party's intention to win has been demonstrated in the various strategic steps taken ahead of the election.
The house-to-house and home-to-home, shop-to-shop, and individual contact we've made to ensure that we have victory is a clear statement of intent by the party, and I'm sure that tomorrow people will know that APC is Edo and Edo is APC.
Shanono and Bagwai towns in Kano State were agog as residents trooped out to welcome the Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin ahead of the supplementary election for the Shanono-Bagwai Federal Constituency. During his visit, the Deputy Senate President officially flagged off the All Progressives Congress campaign and urged party supporters to mobilize from all parts of the constituency to secure victory. The leader of the All Progressives Congress in Enugu State and Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Uche Naji, has assured the people of Nsukka of more developmental projects and political appointments if they buy into the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. The minister was speaking during a rally to welcome defectors from different political parties in the state. He says the APC in the state is working tirelessly to ensure the party's victory in the state for both national and in the southeast region.
Let's begin tonight by letting you know what the good news has been for a lot of people who have been monitoring the economic indices in this country. We know what this means, although there's been a rebasing. But yeah, it's been a fourth consecutive appreciation that we've seen as far as the headline inflation is concerned. So the rate for July fell to 21.8% as compared to June, which stood at 22.22%. The National Bureau of Statistics says in his latest report, where the Consumer Price Index CPI report indicates that the nation has experienced 4 consecutive drops in inflation for the year. Headline inflation rate in July 2025, according to the NBS, was 1.99%, which was 0.31% higher than the rate recorded in June 2025. The report also reveals that July's inflation rate eased to 3.12% as compared to the previous month. That is the headline inflation right there. You see the graph. And if you look at it, if you look at from January, which was about, which went so high, and you saw a drop in February, it went up again in March. But since then, after March, you see from April, June, July, you've seen a consistent drop, a decline. You see as it goes down like that, and we're seeing a fourth consecutive appreciation in headline inflation. But if you look at, flip it, food inflation, there is a worrying situation. I'm hoping to understand why that is happening. As headline inflation is easing, we're seeing some kind of a dramatic twist in food inflation. Let's get a sense of this, everyone. I'm being joined tonight by an economist and chief economist at the SPM initiative. Dr. Paul Alaje is live for us virtually. Thank you so much, Dr. Alaje, for joining us tonight.
Thank you so very much for having me. A beautiful evening to you and the viewers across the globe.
Yeah. Good news that headline inflation is easing, and this is the 4th consecutive report of the easing as we have received from the NBS. It shows one thing, that we might be able, we're seeing a curve that will bring some light at the end of the tunnel. My mathematics may be very horrible, but if you look at what the graph is telling us, is a cheery news, isn't it, Dr. Alaje?
Yes, so we need to know what inflation is and what inflation is not. What inflation is that by how much has the price this year increased compared to last year. So what inflation is telling us that the rate of growth, that is the increase in inflation rate, price rate, that's consumer price index, and I don't want to use economic jargons so that I will not lose value. Viewers this moment and
all right, there seems to be some technical issue with the connection with Dr. Paul Alaje, and we'll be making sense of what I think is back with us. Dr. Alaje, if you're back with us, you're trying to explain to us what that trend means, because for my viewers who are watching this program, what they would try to want to know is that how does it translate to the food on the table and the money in the pocket? Simply put, what does this mean? What is that trend? What does it tell us?
yes, what it means in a nutshell is the average price of goods and services has only increased by 21% from compare last year to this year. So many Nigerians are wondering, Bureau of Statistics is saying that inflation is reducing. How come prices are still expensive? What the Bureau of Statistics is saying, according to their own data that we can interpret, is that if average price level is 100 for most commodity, the price this year is now 121.88 kobo. That's what they are saying. They are not saying that the price has reduced from what it was last year. If that is what Bureau of Statistics is saying, then you'll be talking about deflation. So what we are talking about is inflation. That is, the price is still increasing, even though it's increasing at a reducing rate. So it's important that people understand that when these numbers are released and you are seeing positive number, is an increase to what it was compared to last year. And when you look at the month-on-month, we're also saying that the percentage increase is lower compared to the way it increased this time last month. So inflation is improving. Therefore, as an economist, when you compare what is doing this month and this year to how the price increased last year, remember that I'm talking about when you compare it to increases. So what economics will say, and you have seen a number of persons making comment about it, that the economy seems to be tending towards stability. And it's important to look at that. Economics, when we talk about that, we are looking at the macro environment. We are looking at what exchange rate is saying. We are looking at what inflation is saying. We are looking at what unemployment is saying, and other macro parameter, which includes the GDP. That is, by how much is it growing? Is it growing compared to what we need as a nation? Is it going compared to our population growth, and so on and so forth? So here is the inflation, according to Bureau of Statistics, average price level of what you are buying, of the things they capture in their basket of commodity, increased only by 21.88%. That is, when you go to market, and you can do it, if all Bureau of Statistics captured is what you are buying, there is an increase by 21.88%. That means your price increase. However, the rate at which it increased compared July this year, when you compare it back to what you bought this time last year in July 2024, that's when you have that increase. When you compare June 2024 to June 2025, in June, it was worse off because the price for 2024 increased to 2025 by 22.22%. However, according to them, it only increased by 21.88%. What does that mean? Price has not reduced. In fact, price has increased. When you compare it to others' average price level, I'm not singling out, I'm not bringing out single price. I'm talking macro, MA, not MI. I'm not talking individual. I'm talking macro. But Bureau of Statistics and economists is also interpreting it to mean that it is better off that the rate of increase we had last month. So it's an improvement. And that is why it's important to let economics conversation be robust, to also make people understand that yes, it's an improvement, but generally speaking, when you go to the market, the average price level of what you bought last year, according to the National Bureau of Statistics, this is not my figure, has increased by 21.88.
So
that's what
does that also explains, Dr. Alaje, why the trend we saw in headline inflation is different from the food inflation? As it's easing in the headline inflation, the opposite is what we saw in the food inflation.
Okay, so they rub off. Bureau of Statistics captures headline inflation from two components, the core inflation and the food inflation. The food inflation includes everything that is not production. It includes agro product. It includes quite a number of things, including vegetables, quite a number of things in that basket of commodity. But they share them into two. Only recently, I think earlier this year, I had this conversation with you in Abuja, where the Bureau of Statistics adjusted and removed people who eat in eateries and took it out from that component, that food inflation component. And that is one of the reasons why you are seeing this some kind of reduction. Apart from that, you also note that Bureau of Statistics has also adjusted the base year, just as we adjusted the base year for a number of parameters for other key macro indicators. So all of these are responsible. What you are seeing here is that after the adjustment, now watch where you had 30-something. I keep saying that it will be imbalanced to look at January and compare it with the reality of April, because the parameters are different. All the 30% you had, we had different scale of measurement. So it would be wrong to compare them. In fact, to be sincere with you, the best time we can know through inflation figure will be from around, I think around February or March next year, when we are comparing the same parameters together. So what you'll be having now, technically speaking, will be basically outliers. You are seeing 20-something% compared to, so that 10% is no reduction, it's an adjustment in the base year. And that's what Bureau of Statistics, as Sasha General mentioned, that we are not saying that your prices in the market has reduced, because a lot of people are casting aspersion on them that, oh, they are manipulating the figure and so on and so forth. What they are saying, on the other hand, from the report, is that we are not saying that the number have reduced. We are saying they have adjusted some parameter that makes the numbers to appear smaller or lower than that they were before. But before you can talk of real reduction, it will be from next year, when we can now compare the same base year together. So the number you are seeing is showing some reduction in increase, not in prices, in increase of average price level when you compare them year.
All right,
yeah.
so
when you
Dr.
market, I can tell you, your price of bread may still be relatively high compared to what you bought it last year. And you wonder, so why are we saying inflation is increasing? We are saying that if you bought it 1,000 naira last year, it might be an assumption 1,210 naira this year. It's only showing that 21% increase.
So Dr. Alaje,
that's just an instance.
Yeah. What is the good news for my viewers tonight who are watching? The easing and that trend that we have seen since the last 4 months as captured by the NBS. In the layman's language, for the man who buys food from the buka, the canteen, and the man who goes out every day to get his pay or get salary every month. What is the good news that this trend is telling us in simple terms?
The good news is that from about 4 months ago, or if you like 6 months ago, but comfortably 4 months ago, the rate of that increase, the rate at which it increased year by year, is reducing. It has reduced from about 24% now to about 21%. And it may ease from now like that till we have something like 18%. So that is the good news. But to make this good news everlasting, we need to watch out for what will happen next year. Next year, political correspondent. And from history, as an economist, I've studied this economy too well from 1998 to 2002 to 2006 to 2010 to 2014 to 2018 to 2022, and I will study it again by God's grace 2026. Pre-election year, there is pressure on the naira. There is pressure that induces inflation. If that happens, I'm afraid this gain we are making, this is a gain. We have to say it clearly. This gain we are making may reverse. And that is why I keep advising authorities, including His Excellency Mr. President, to say that do everything possible next year, such that election money to be spent, that is, the money politicians plan to spend, should be in naira, no iota of the dollar, neither for delegates or for whosoever, so that these economic gains that we have started seeing the signs from reduced growth in inflation, that is, inflation is growing at a reducing rate, can be permanent, and we can have a truly stabilized economy at the end of the summer.
Dr. Alaje, two things are here. Based on the policies of government, you look at the prices of commodities and the value of the purchasing capacity of the money in the hands of the average Nigerian. Those are two major factors that policies of government affect in the economics of living. And I want to imagine, and I want to ask, when the government tells us that it's going to be an initial pain, but we start seeing the gain, on those two indices that I mentioned, the prices and the purchasing, the value of the money and the purchasing capacity of an average Nigeria. Are things getting better from these figures and statistics? Are we seeing a better day? Are better days coming? There are hopes. New hope, like the government is telling Nigerians.
Okay, so I think to better put that in perspective, there are about 4 P's. The first P is policy. That policy will affect prices. The prices of commodity will affect people. Eventually, people's decision will affect who is in power. The last P. So policy will determine whether government will remain in power or government will be out of power. Economics have connected these 4 P's together. That is why policy are made because of the people. Now, the question is, has this policy been able to improve life of people? Well, I can tell you that from the number released by the Bureau of Statistics, we have been seeing a reduction in the growth rate of inflation, and that should be positive. But when you talk macroeconomics, there are several parameters to consider. Number one is exchange rate. When we compare that to what it was, would we say that it has improved? Number 2 is inflation, which is the conversation we are having now. Number 3 is employment. Would we say that unemployment is better off or worse off? Number 4 is the GDP. Would we say that the GDP of Nigeria is growing significantly as much as we want it to be? And there are other parameters that perhaps are not among the 4 core parameters, which includes what is happening to health, what is happening to education, what is happening to income of the people. You talked about how the policy has affected the purchasing power of the people. Why? Because when we floated the naira, it ended in some kinds of devaluation of the currency. But government responded by increasing minimum wage such that people can earn more. But the question is, what 30,000 could do 3 years ago, can 70,000 do the same this year? But government is also saying that if we don't take this policy, if we don't remove subsidy, if we don't devalue the naira, it will be perhaps very difficult for people to invest in Nigeria. That's an argument. Government, on the other hand, also has an argument to say that if you don't remove subsidy, it will be practically impossible for Nigeria to finance some of the key obligations. As a result, it became pertinent for the government to take these 2 decisions. Now, all of those have been done already, so there is no need for me to start beating a dead horse. What is important now is that which policy are we going to make to energize the economy, to make the economy to go back to significant growth? What is expected is about 7 to 10% GDP growth rate. What is also expected is to vote more money into critical sector, which includes empowering railway more, 2, roads for Nigeria, 3, education, number 4 is energy. So when you put all of this together, I can tell you, and also empowering the manufacturing sector, I beg your pardon. If you empower these 5 critical sectors, even though there are about 12 of them, and for the want of time, I may not be able to list all of them on this single program. But if you empower all of them, and we do this consistently for about 5 to 8 years, we empower them consistently, the dividend of democracy, which average Nigeria which includes...
Yeah, so apologies to cutting. I want to make my audience tonight have the good news. Is the hope going to be renewed? Are we seeing light at the end of the tunnel? Are things going to be easy in terms of those practical things, 2 things that I've mentioned? The ability to buy more and the prices of food in the market. Are things getting better? Are we seeing better days ahead? Or the figures don't reflect that?
Well, I don't know if what I'm saying is the response you would like to hear. But Bureau of Statistics, in today's report by the Bureau of Statistics, is saying that this report does not mean your price will go down. That's what the Bureau of Statistics said. So that's what the Bureau of Statistics said. But Bureau of Statistics is saying that the rate at which it became more expensive last year is not the way at which it became more expensive this year. It's about increase in price. It's not about reduction in price. So, but if you allow me, say, what must we do to make things better? And I must say that it is good news that it's not becoming worse off. I think that's how to really answer the question. Right. The good news, Nigerians, is that it's not getting worse off. I think that's the right answer right there. That is the good news. That is not, because it could have also get worse off. But because of attention everyone is paying to it, we are moderating from what it used to be.
Give me a moment, Dr. Alaje. Let me go on a break. And when I return, I'd like you to respond to what Governor Soludo and Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala, what both of them said about the economy. And whether or not these better days that they say is ahead are truly here. We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Our closing moments now with Dr. Paul Alaje on the state of the economy. Tinubunomics and the state of the economy. And you look at it, that whatever the policies are, the groaning stage, whether or not we're going to be seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, I'd like you to comment on what Ms. Okonjo-Iweala said. Let me remind everyone what she said and what this government needs to be doing. She gives a thumbs up, but she also sounded a note of warning. Take a listen to her.
I think that the president and his team, and we just exchanged with him, have worked hard to stabilize the economy. And you cannot really improve an economy unless it's stable. So he has to be given the credit for the stability of the economy. So the reforms have been in the right direction. What is needed next is growth. We now need to grow the economy, and we need to put in social safety nets so that people who are feeling the pinch of the reforms can also have some support to be able to weather the hardship. So that's the next step. How do we build social safety net to help Nigerians cushion the hardship they're feeling? And then how do we grow the economy so we can create more jobs and put more money in people's pockets? These are issues that we discussed with Mr. President.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Dr. Alaje, there are those who are saying the manner in which whatever she said has been twisted and, from what the WTO DG has said, what's your take about the state of the economy as our parting shot tonight?
Okay, so I will tell you that to a large extent, speaking macroeconomics, we have stability, which means that exchange rate is no longer fluctuating outside the given corridor, given bracket, 1,001, 1,006. That's relative stability. Inflation, we now see it around 20%. Unemployment on 1 hour is also relatively constant, around 4 to 5%, based on the number released by National Bureau of Statistics. But growth rate is still really very low compared to what we need. And when you look at other parameters, you see that export, we have also seen improved export in naira terms. So when you look at this as macroeconomists, the theory they taught us indicate that this is stability. Now, having had this environment for macro environment, I started with it earlier. What you need to do is to now make this have impact in the life of people. And now will it have impact? There are some persons that the new reality has affected them badly. We need to support them, no doubt. And in supporting them, it will not be by sharing rice or by giving them 5,000 that the last dispensation did, or giving them 80,000 naira. It's by looking for a viable means of impacting this huge population. And I've advised before that we had something similar when Madam Okonjo-Iweala was the minister, where she came up with a program like You Win. Entrepreneurs came to compete. They got other people to job. There were a lot of people, about 10 million naira. And you know the value of that 10 million naira then and the value of 10 million naira today. Let us assume that we still want to use that same 10 million naira and we have that kind of program. I tell you, a lot of young people will participate, they will feel belong, and you now see that they will also help drive this economy. And those who cannot also write business plan and so on and so forth, we can find a way to meet them at their own level. by all means, Mr. President must earmark some money, which of course he had promised earlier in 2023, and he fulfilled some of those promises by giving some of them. But there are still large number of people that need this support today. So if you ask me, what is left now is the impact of this stability on Nigerians. Why? World Bank is saying 75% of Nigeria that are living in rural area are poor, and another report is saying even larger number. That number is also living in poverty. But I believe that Nigeria can be better. I believe Nigeria can work. I believe this administration can also do more to improve quality of life for Nigerians and make Nigeria better. If not, we will all be affected. That is why we need to do everything possible, not just to wish government well, which I am wishing that we do it, but also to provide quality advisory for Nigeria to be the most desirable place to stay in Africa and eventually around the world.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Paul Alaje, for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Let's switch gears now and talk about elections. So, a civil society organization, Yaga Africa, is advocating for the engagement of qualified and credible Nigerians as officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The Executive Director, Yaga Africa, Mr. Samson Itodo, who made the appeal at an advocacy meeting in Abuja, says that the next set of appointees at the commission should be people that will be ready to do the right thing and not compromise on the rules and standards for the electoral process. Take a listen to him.
When the president sends his nomination, he's only read on the floor of the Senate, and that is it. Now, the particulars of those individuals are not put up in the public. And so what we are saying is those screening processes should be open. And the National Assembly should publish a public sort of notice on the names and the particulars of those people, and also officially invite people, citizens, to submit memorandum. All the last appointment processes, we've never seen a situation where the National Assembly has invited memorandum. It's been civil society taking the proactive step of submitting memorandum to those people. In fact,
all right, then there will be by-elections in about 16 constituencies of 12 states tomorrow and in several parts of the country. But we got some information from INEC saying that INEC has been served with a judgment of the Federal High Court. In the judgment, the commission was ordered to include the Socio-Democratic Party, SDP, and its candidates in the by-elections in 12 states of the Federation. The party did not earlier submit a valid notice for the conduct of primaries for the by-elections. For these, INEC says they were not monitored by the Commission. However, in compliance with the judgment, INEC says the names of the candidates submitted manually have now been accepted and published on the INEC website. And the INEC says the party will participate in the by-elections. The Commission is now wishing to assure the public that voters in the 12 states that the 11th hour judgment will not affect the election, which will proceed tomorrow, Saturday, 16th August, of August 2025. Let's speak with Rotimi Oyekomi, who is the Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman, who is live for us virtually from in Abuja at the INEC headquarters. Thanks so much, Rotimi, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. Good evening.
Yeah, I mean, it's an 11th hour decision which INEC had to adhere to. Beyond that, we also know that Labour Party is agitated about their own position, whether which candidates. Did you get the petition or the inquiry from Labour Party too?
No. I don't have information about the Labour Party. I only have about the SDP.
Okay, so give us an understanding about tomorrow's by-elections. What is the latest that we know from INEC's point of view?
Thank you very much. We are ready for the elections. Like you rightly referenced, we are holding the elections in 16 constituencies across 12 states. The elections we hold in 2 senatorial districts, 5 federal constituencies, and 9 state constituencies. We have deployed all the non-sensitive materials, and even the sensitive materials were distributed from the premises of the Central Bank of Nigeria offices in those states. And right now, we are counting down to moving to the polling units tomorrow. And of course, at the headquarters here in Abuja, we are activating a situation room. We are all going to be there to respond to any emergency and to be on top of the game, to monitor what is going on. And I think that we expect a seamless exercise tomorrow.
So, as far as tomorrow is concerned, these by-elections are to fill the states where we've seen vacancies, either those who left to aspire to some other position or those who died in office. But the SDP situation, give us an understanding. So voters who are going out tomorrow to vote in this by-election, what should they look out for? Because when you printed the ballot paper, SDP was not included, were they? And how are you adjusting to that?
No. The truth of the matter is that we made provision. We were prepared for this kind of scenario because it's not the first time that we will get an 11-hour judgment such as this. So we were prepared. The SDP will be on the ballot tomorrow. And if voters want to vote for their candidates, they will find them there.
But the Labour Party says that they were not able to get access code to upload their candidate. Is Labour Party going to be on the ballot tomorrow too?
Well, the issue of Labour Party is in court, and you will have to excuse me. I don't want to comment on that because it will be subjudiced. They've gone to court, actually.
But, I mean, in real sense, as of today, as of now, who is the leader of Labour Party? Who is the national chairman of Labour Party as recognized by INEC?
That's precisely what I'm saying. These are contentious issues, and they are in court, and we'll meet them in court. So I think we should just wait until the court decides on this matter.
So, invariably, INEC does not recognize anyone as the chairman or leader of the Labour Party as we speak.
Shehu, whatever I say here might be taken up against me in court. So I think that when a matter is in court, the best thing is just not to comment, because any comment will be subjudiced.
So let's look at what is going on. So, and I'm asking because I'm not asking for the other political parties. I'm asking for the political parties that have some level of controversies and contentions over. So Labour Party 2 will be on the ballot as much as SDP 2 will be there.
Well, the truth of the matter is that, like I said, with the benefit of hindsight, we know that it is possible to have the kind of court ruling or judgment like we had in respect of the SDP. So we made preparations for it. So as far as we are concerned, the parties will be on the ballot. But of course, some issues that are in court remain in court, and it is best for us not to comment on such matters at this moment.
Is there anything fundamentally different from the manner in which you conduct the elections in 2023 and what you'll be doing tomorrow?
Well, there's an improvement. Of course, in 2023, we met the threshold of substantial compliance, and we deployed our technology. And of course, everybody agreed that the beavers function to the tune of 98%. As far as accreditation of voters was concerned, we didn't have any problem. Of course, tomorrow we are going to deploy the beavers for accreditation at the polling unit so that when voters come, if we cannot accredit them through the fingerprints, the first thing is to try the fingerprints. If it doesn't work, then we try the facials. And from all the elections we've been conducting, that has worked almost 400%. And of course, we are better organized now. The logistics have improved greatly. This is like a test case because we have a governorship election in November. And these elections in 12 states, 16 constituencies will also be part of our preparations for the governorship election in Anambra State. So I think we expect to open exactly 8:30 a.m. tomorrow, and voters that come there will have what we call a joyful experience. We don't emphasize any issue at all.
So what we're hearing from the Nigerian police force is that the IGP has ordered the restriction of all forms of vehicular movement on roads, waterways, and other forms of transportation from 12 a.m. to 6 p.m. on election day within the affected local government areas, with the exception of those on essential services, including INEC officials, accredited media, and electoral observers, ambulances responding to medical emergencies, and firefighters. And the IGP, in a statement released by Muyiwa Adejobi, has indicated that he has directed deployment of senior officers of the rank of Assistant Inspector General of Police and Commissioners of Police to assist state commissioners of police to ensure proper supervision of the election tomorrow. It does look like, as you are preparing, police is even taking this election as though it's like a general election. Restriction of movement, restriction of vehicular movement has been imposed in those areas ahead of tomorrow. But with the benefit of hindsight, whatever happened tomorrow, I guess that voters might be able to view the result on the IREF, the viewing portal. Is that possible tomorrow?
That's possible tomorrow, definitely. All presiding officers will be required to, after the close of poll, and the ballots have been sorted, counted, and results announced, and the figures entered correctly in Form ECHA, which is the polling unit results, the presiding officers are required to snap the picture of the PU result and then upload to the IREF. And of course, by maybe between 3 p.m., 4 p.m., depending on when each constituency concludes, each polling unit concludes, the results will be posted, and Nigerians will have access to see the results as they are live, as they are posted from the various polling units.
Let's take a quick break, Ms. Oyekomi, but when we come back, I'd like you to talk to us about the continuous voter registration exercise, which will last for 1 year, and I'm hoping that everyone will be able to go out there and get themselves enlisted on the voting register. You tell us more about where, when, how every Nigerian can get registered and probably transfer their voting identity. We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. Rotimi Oyekomi, Chief Press Secretary to INEC Chairman, has been speaking with us on the program. But we do know that INEC has recently announced that a continuous voter registration exercise, which a lot of the time precedes major elections, will now resume on the 18th of August with the online pre-registration. The in-person registration option will follow a week later on the 25th of August 2025. Thereafter, the two processes will continue simultaneously for a year until 30th of August 2026. So everyone have the opportunity of 1 year to be able to do that. But don't forget that the pre-registration, which is the online, will happen for about a week from Monday till 25th of Monday, 18th August to 25th of August. So you can go to INEC address, the CVR side, where you can get a live locator, the cvr.inecnigeria.org/locator. But let's allow Rotimi to give us more information. It's interesting that this is happening. There are a lot of people who are saying, do we really need to have a voter card? Any other cards can suffice. But now the law says we need a voter card. This CVR, what more do you want to tell us tonight?
Well, let me quickly correct an impression. You said that the online registration will start next Monday and it will be for a week. No, it won't be for a week. It will operate side by side with the in-registration, which we're going to start on the 25th of August. So it depends on what an individual prefers. If you prefer to go online to register, you can do so. But if you don't want to have anything to do with online registration, and you prefer to go to one of the designated centers, you're also free to do so. And it will operate towards 2026 for 1 whole year. Of course, we are prepared. All the necessary logistics have been put in place. About 811 centers have been designated, comprising, of course, the 774 local government offices of the Commission, and of course, the offices of the Commission in 36 states and the FCT. And we want to encourage Nigerians to take advantage of that. Those who have recently turned 18 are qualified to register, and those who have never registered before. We also want to appeal to Nigerians to understand something, that it is against the law to register more than once. So for all those who have registered before, please look for where your PVC is and go and collect it. Because you see, if you register again, in our system, we have application that will flag you. And of course, because this thing is punishable under the law, I will advise Nigerians not to engage in that. And of course, we will be very, very attentive. We have uploaded the addresses of all the 811 centers on our website. And of course, our contact center will be ready to take calls and to respond to issues. And because this is a year-long activity, Nigerians have the opportunity, they have ample time to go and register. I want to appeal to them not to wait till July next year, but it will be like a month to the end of it or 2 weeks to the end of it to register, because that will now result in pressure on our offices. And then we don't want the kind of pressure that we say, postpone, postpone, postpone.
All right. In a moment, we will put up what the CVR live locator and what it can do for you. You can locate where the nearest location for you, where you can easily the closest, just like you go on Google and say restaurant near me. So you can go by the state and the local government that is close to you, and you'll be able to find for yourself where you can do the CVR. But Rotimi, for those who want to replace their PVC, or those who have their temporary car, all of those things, can it be done within this period?
No, of course, there is an ample opportunity. In fact, you can do all of that online. Once the portal goes live, all the services are listed there. If you want to replace your lost PVC or your defaced PVC, if you want to correct information on your PVC or stuff like that, you can do all of that on the portal. But if you also prefer to go in physically to do that, once the process begins, you're also free to do so. So all the services will be available.
So in all of these, this is in preparation for the 2027 election, largely, right?
Right.
But in the states where we are having off-cycle elections, we're going to have in Ekiti, in Anambra, CVR is going to, is going to be special, isn't it? Or it's going to be part of it?
Well, for Anambra, we actually conducted CVR there, before this one that is about to start. And normally it's in our character to conduct CVR in states where we are having off-season governorship election. But as it is, this exercise that we're about to begin next Monday is going to run for a year. And of course, since it's running for Ekiti and Osun, depending on the dates, we may not need to conduct state if it falls within the general one, and everybody will be able to take advantage of it.
Thank you. Rotimi Oyekomi, CPS2 INEC chairman. Thank you so much indeed for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
And that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Akimale. God bless Nigeria.